Maddox, and I was an educator in public schools in Texas for 42 years. I taught school, I was an education director, an instructional specialist, an assistant principal, and finished up as an academy director at Austin High here in Austin, Texas. Loved every bit of my job, loved it. I still run into ex-students or parents of ex-students, and it's just kind of funny to have done a positive experience with kids. I guess that's kind of who I am. I'm a father, a grandfather, a husband. I'm openly gay at this point for quite a long time, and it's lovely that my entire family and my sons and my grandsons all love me and adore me, and I have a great life with them. What I probably should mention, for 2 years now I've been a gallery teacher at the Blanton Museum on the grounds of UT, and primarily leading student groups through 6 to 8 pieces of art where you go deeper with them and you get discussions. They officially call it a visual teaching strategy, VTS, but my favorite is doing what used to be called social justice, but then the Texas legislature forced us to change the name. We changed it to exploring diversity through art. Now it's called social issues through art. But it's the same thing where you get students talking about diversity, inclusiveness, and equity by using the artwork. And then I've been painting, well, I minored in art in college a long time ago, but then I never really did anything with it till about 20 years ago, and I just bought paints and canvases, took a little class at the Dougherty Art Center, and then just started doing it on my own. And the more you paint, the more you learn, and the better you get, and you change and do your styles. I've always felt creative. As a kid, I would draw perspective drawings. I don't really know where I got the information because I was like in elementary school, but I would do mountains in the back and like the winding road that got larger with the lines, and the telephone poles got larger and the trees would get larger just to do perspective. And I liked architecture, and so I would make floor plans and elevations of what the house would look like. And then buying my first house in 1982, I landscaped the whole thing. So I had this interest in plants and landscaping, and that's creative. So I've just had a piece of creativity in me for a long time. When I started painting, I did abstracts because it was more about how I could put my expression, my feelings onto canvas and play with paint. I always start with adding some texture. Usually it's like the modeling paste, and I just recently discovered pumice, and so putting both of those on there and getting some texture, because I didn't want the painting to be so completely flat. I like there to be some kind of flow and bringing out a little bit more dimension, because the paint itself will also add to that, but it's not nearly as dramatic. On several of them, I've done spray paint. Some where I've spray painted the entire canvas one solid color with the intention of scraping through after a few layers where some like a hot pink spray paint, and then the hot pink, there's pieces of it that show after I scrape through it. It's just so many different layers of paint, and then somehow through that process I'm like, okay, now I know where I'm going with this, because it may start off with purples and greens, but then it ends up with reds and yellows at the very end. And you might see a purple and green hint here and there, through the layers. So the process kind of gets organic, and then I figure out where I'm going with it. I don't think my paintings make this enormous statement like some artists do, and sometimes you get that statement when you look at it or you get through some explanation. I listen to music when I paint. It just kind of gets something. There's a feeling there, and I don't know if anybody will get the connection that I did with it, but it doesn't really, it's kind of like I paint for myself, and hopefully somebody likes it. Artists will many times talk about how do they know when their paintings are finished. And that is a weird one. It's kind of it gets to the point where I'm going, okay, I would hang that in my house. Now I'm ready, it's fine. I like it enough, I would hang it, so it's done. And usually my paintings are at least 10 different layers of texture and paint and before it's finished. Although I'm currently trying to get a body of work that's around a certain theme, that's very fluid. Like, I think it really started with somewhere between the sun and the stars. How that one came out very fluid for me, and so I've done a couple more on that similar pathway.
So I'm shooting this piece outside in some bright sunlight here in Austin, Texas, and this is somewhere between the sun and the stars, Galaxy of Emptiness. 36 by 48, mostly acrylic on canvas. And I had some fun with blending all kinds of colors and textures in this. I like the feel of some sort of calmness, but at the same time, a sense of mild distortion.
Keep painting and paint what you like, paint what you feel, experiment. And it doesn't matter if you don't like what you've painted, because you can always paint over the canvas. You just always paint right over it. And it's okay to steal techniques from other artists because you're not copying. Because there was a debate like on Instagram for that, and I loved how one person said, "Copy? I can't even copy my own." And my sister also is an artist, and we laughed at that because it's like, yeah, if I tried to recreate a painting that I like, I can't. Or I go back and go, how did I do that painting? I really like it, but what was that technique? It was different. So you can learn from other artists. I had a high school art teacher, and he would come around and draw on people's stuff, like showing you what he thought you should do instead of telling you and giving you guidance. And you're like, why are you drawing on my painting? If you don't like somebody's art, maybe you say, maybe you give them reasons why. Like, I don't like it because, but you don't put down their art, Because I know not everybody likes, like Joan Mitchell, I get people, when I show a picture in the gallery, it's almost always on one of my stops, and half the people will be like, that looks like a kindergartner did it. And, okay, that's all right. And tell them, you don't have to like everything. I don't like everything in the gallery, but I learned to appreciate it.